Welcome to the Her Story Circle podcast, the podcast that brings you the extraordinary tales of everyday women who are changing the world. I'm your host, Gertrude Mache, and I'd like to acknowledge traditional custodians of the land on which we meet today. I also like to pay my respects to elders, past, present, and emerging. Every week, we dive into the lives, challenges, and triumphs of women from all four corners of the globe. We're here to inspire, enlighten, and connect, sharing stories that uplift and empower. So grab a cup of coffee, settle in, and join us as we explore the incredible journeys of women shaping our future. This is Her Story, where every woman's voice matters. Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Her Story Circle. This is Gertrude Mache here in beautiful Melbourne, Australia. And today I am graced with the presence of yet another fascinating young woman. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our tribe. Please tell everybody your full name, where you're based, and share your story with us today.
Hi, thank you so much for having me here today. I'm truly blessed. My name's Miriam Cruz. I'm from San Jose, California. I was born in Mexico, in Michoacan, Mexico, and came to the United States when I was about 5 years old. And that really has a lot to do with my story. So today I'm going to share really about me, who I am, where I come from, the things that have happened in my life that have really helped me blossom into who I have become. And I truly believe it's a miracle that I'm here and I'm really blessed. So many times I share my story with others because many of us have faced challenges in life and we feel that we might be alone or that no one will understand or even embarrassed of some of the things that we've struggled. So my goal is to impact others, to teach others and help others understand that things do happen to many of us and it's okay. And really we use our experiences to fuel our future. That's my goal. So again, my name is Miriam. I am a women empowerment coach. I am also a real estate agent here in California, and I specialize in probate and trust. So I'll explain a little bit about that in the future. More than anything, though, I am 39 years old. I love traveling. I love being with my family. I have two children. One child is 4, and my other son is 16. Both are a pleasure to be around, and they are also a huge part of my story, which I'll share with you in a little bit. Let's see. So my story really started when I turned 36 years old. When I turned 36, I had my second child, and I went through some really challenging times with depression and having suicidal thoughts. And many things happened throughout that time that really helped me regain focus and understand who I was spiritually. Up until then, like I said, I was born in Mexico, and we grew up in a very violent childhood or a violent household. My father was really violent with my mother and with us. There were 6 children. Specifically, he treated me a little bit differently because I was the darkest one in the family. So he made it a point for me to know that I was different than the rest, or at least that's how I felt at the moment. He gave me a nickname, Blackie, or Negrita in Spanish, and I felt that I was different than my siblings, and I hated my skin color. I hated everything about me ever since I could remember. So my parents left me in Mexico when I was about 2 to 3 years old, to come to the United States and create a better life for us. At that point, it was 5 of us, and I was the youngest one. So they left me with aunts and uncles and cousins, and it was really a village that was raising me. But throughout those years, from 3 to 5, I've really had some challenging moments where I didn't really know who to go to, even as a little girl, or who to count on because I was by myself. So I was afraid of my aunts and uncles. There was sexual abuse. There were so many things that I encountered as a little girl. And I remember just really having to defend myself as a little girl and focus on what I can do to be safe. So I had nightmares and many things that happened at that age. Now that I look back, I can't even imagine my 4-year-old going through things like that. So that has been really a struggle for me as I have gone older, because I do have a lot of inner child trauma and inner child depression that I dealt with due to my childhood. So my parents brought me to the United States when I was about 5 years old. They hired someone who we called a coyote or a coyote, someone that will bring you to the United States illegally, since I was born in Mexico. And I remember when I came to the United States, I didn't even recognize my mother. So I hadn't seen her for years. And I remember my siblings were like, hey, that's mom, but I still didn't feel that connection with her. As we all know, that connection with our parent or whoever is there with us when we're young, right? 0 to 5 is when we build that bond. So even at that young age, I didn't have that bond with anyone, whether it was my mother or my father. We came to the United States and the abuse continued. My father was an alcoholic. He was a drug addict, and he continuously abused my mother and us. So that led me to a lot of challenges. And again, having really identity issues. I hated my family. I didn't want to speak Spanish. We came to the United States and I was embarrassed to speak Spanish. At school, they would make fun of us. They would make fun of my skin color again. And then they would also say that my house was like a zoo because we had so many animals. My dad loved animals. So I started rebelling. And when I started middle school, I started using drugs and participating in other things that were not the best for me, but that was my outlet. And I felt safe. I felt that the other kids were around me, understood me. So I was in the juvenile justice system. I was sent to a boarding school in Mexico. And then I became a single mother. And up until I got pregnant with my first child, I didn't really know what my future was or what to do with life. But having that child grow inside of me, if anyone has had children, I'm sure they can relate, really transformed my life because I felt like I finally knew how to love someone. And I felt I had to protect this being, right? Do something different that was done to me. So I really transformed my life. I started going to school. I was a dropout from high school, and then I hurried up and got my credits so I can go to college. And I went to community college, and then I graduated from university. So I'm the only graduate in my family, actually. And my child really was a blessing to me because he helped me understand my priorities and understand how to love, as I mentioned before. So I started working really hard as a single mother. I raised him by myself since the age of 2 up until the age now that he's 16. Now his father's back in the picture, but I really had to work really hard to not allow my past to really impact what I was going to do in my future in a negative way. And I realized really early in my teenage years when I had my son that I had to use my past to fuel my future, that I had to really focus on who I was and what I wanted to accomplish, not only for me, but for Anthony. And that was my first motivation in life. As I mentioned, I started working. I worked for the courthouse. I became a supervisor for the courthouse. And it's very interesting because I was so ashamed of my background, my legal background, being in the juvenile justice system or having a DUI as an adult. But I let this go and I understood that it was part of who I was becoming and it helped me fuel my future. So when I worked for the courthouse, I met my second husband or partner, and then we planned on having a child. And it was a beautiful experience because this time I did it differently. However, it didn't really work out that way. When I had my second child, I went through some pretty severe postpartum depression feelings. And there were times that I felt suicidal. And I remember sitting on the floor one day and I called my doctor at Kaiser and I told her, hey, please help me. I think I want to kill myself. So I started seeing a therapist and a psychiatrist, and I quickly realized that I had something that I refer to now as an ego death. Something inside my brain or something inside of me kind of snapped, and I was never the same again. And this caused me to really start learning more about who I was or where I came from, my culture, my ancestors, my spirituality. I wanted to learn more. I felt that my life had been just kind of flowing and going. But now I wanted to do something different to transform my life. So I started digging deeper, and that's when I started looking into coaches, spiritual guides, people that are out there teaching about yoga, meditation, different things like that. And then I was able to really dig deep and really focus on myself and understand what is it that I wanted in life. I got my real estate license and I left the courthouse. I stopped working. I knew that I wanted to be my own self-employed person. I didn't want anyone to tell me I couldn't take time off to be with my children. So I was really motivated. So I worked really hard. I meditated every day after my postpartum. I started hiring coaches. I, in fact, started coaching women, women empowerment coaching, and I would coach women to achieve their goals as I coached myself when I was going through those challenging moments, and providing them a 6-month program so they can create these SMART goals and hold them accountable to ensure that they succeeded and follow through. I did the same thing for myself when I had my postpartum depression and I knew that I could help other women. So now as a real estate agent, my specialty, as I mentioned, is probate and trust. And I'm able to help seniors, mainly the elderly, who are going through probate because someone passed away or have a trust. So I use my experience to help others in this world.
Your story is just absolutely intriguing,
Thank you.
absolutely fascinating. Just listening to you speak, the challenges you've had to get to this point.
Right.
Now you're using all of that experience, not just to empower yourself, but to empower other women as well. It's been quite a journey of resilience.
Yeah, if I can mention, so this morning I saw the same doctor. I had my physical, my routine with my doctor who told me I was pregnant the first time.
Right.
I had gone in because I was feeling sick and someone said you might have mono or something. I realized I was pregnant. I was 3 months pregnant. And I
Oh,
told her, I started crying and I said, no, 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 I want to have an abortion. And she was like, Miriam, think about this. So this morning we were reflecting and she's like, I can't believe your journey. I can't believe you're, and I'm like, I know this is crazy.
yeah.
I would have never imagined that I'm here. So I'm truly blessed.
Yeah, it sounds to me like you don't take anything for granted.
I don't. At least now I'm able to see it. And even the challenging parts of my life,
Hmm.
I'm so grateful. A friend of mine asked me this weekend, if you could go back, what would be your best year? And I said, right now. I wouldn't go back to anything else because I'm aware, I'm awake, and I'm grateful every single day for where I'm at.
And you're very present.
I'm
So
present.
what so what are some of the key steps or resources that helped you overcome your struggles and discover self-love?
So for me, it was first of all acknowledging. I think many times for us, it's really hard to go there
Yeah.
and to really think about it. Am I happy? What is it that I need to work on? So being self aware, what is it that you're really looking for in life? What will make you happy? And sometimes it's not easy. We don't even know,
Mhm.
especially for mothers. We just give. So when someone tells you to look within, you don't even know how to do that. Um,
Yes.
so for me, it was being self aware and then breaking it down by small goals or little things like what can I do tomorrow to help me get there? And realizing that if you look at someone on social media and you're like, I want to do that, it is possible,
Yeah.
but it does take work. So for me, I created when I was coaching my clients the 3 C's: clarity, consistency, commitment.
Mm.
And even when you don't want to do it, you have to do it, even if it's a little bit.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I still live by that every day. And I'm like, no, no, no. I have hard days too.
Yeah.
And it's understanding, okay, I'm having a hard day today. Tomorrow, I'll go at it again.
Now, despite dropping out of high school, You later pursued a bachelor degree in criminal justice.
Right.
How did your educational journey shape your career and personal growth? And what motivated you to return to school and achieve this milestone?
Um, it became a personal goal to go back to school, and I used my son as my motivation because I
Mm,
wanted to get a better job at that moment. And honestly, I wanted to be in justice because my probation officer when I was young, instead of making me do probation work outside cleaning streets, he took me to church with his wife.
oh,
And I
wow.
had never been in a family unit where people actually got along and didn't fight and went to church. You know, my house was very toxic. So I love that George, who was a pastor, he took me to church with his wife, and I love to be in that unit. So I wanted to provide that to children,
Yeah.
juveniles in the justice system. I wanted to do the same. So that's why I went to work in that field, or I got my degree. But when I started working at the courts, I realized how, and then I became a real estate agent. I realized that my degree still helps me understand the legal side so I could help my clients when they're going through challenges in real estate or people in life. I think that it humbled me having a degree of that because I learned so much about addictions, truancy, or children being taken from their families. And it made me really become more human.
Hmm. So you were now on the other side of the law and you got to see it from both sides. So that's been a real gift for you.
Right.
So, what inspired you to pursue a career in real estate? And how did your background in the legal system and experience as a county clerk supervisor influence your approach in the industry?
So I was cold calling for a family member, and I found my first property, and I didn't have a license. So I called him and I said, "Hey, I have this person who wants to sell." And we were supposed to team up and sell this property. I was supposed to make hundreds of thousands, and it was amazing. Well, he actually flaked and kept the money to himself.
Oh,
So that was another challenging moment that I was so devastated for days. And my partner said, "Hey, you need to get it together. You need to get your license so this doesn't happen to you again." So
yes.
I got my real estate license kind of on accident because I'm like, no, it's so hard. Everyone tells me. And in fact, he told me I would never make it. And he said, "You're already making it and you don't have a license."
Yeah.
So I got my license. I mean, it was the easiest thing. And I already had clients because I had been working to helping him. It's people that trusted me and wanted to work with me. They didn't want
Oh,
to work with him, but I didn't have a license. So in my field, probate is when someone goes to court and they don't have the legal authorization to sell the house.
right.
Trust is when someone creates a trust because they want to set things up for the family. So if they die, the family can sell the house. So my field is real estate, but it's specifically probate and trust, and it has
Okay.
to do with the legal system. And I absolutely love what I do because I'm able to impact lives. Yeah. So my clients don't want to just sell, like maybe someone's daughter died. She has
Mm-hmm.
to sell her daughter's home and they're going through a lot of pain.
Yes.
So my approach is empathy and love. And then the sell, of course, comes last. Like we're going to sell the
Yeah.
house. We're going to do, but first my clients need to sometimes to be heard or a shoulder to cry on.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's been little things in my life, like my real estate license was not a plan, but I was guided and I just listened to the guidance and follow. And
Mm.
it's been a blessing.
So, as a probate specialist, you bring unique expertise to your clients. Can you explain what exactly it entails and how your experience in the criminal justice and the legal system enhances your ability to assist clients in this area?
Absolutely. So, as I mentioned, probate and trust are the legal, probate and trust real estate are not like a general sale or purchase. They include other legal documents that here in California, people have to go through the court. So there's legal requirements that I'm truly aware of because I used to work for the courthouse. So if
Right.
someone has a petition and needs certain days or there's a timeline, I'm able to understand that because I've seen these petitions before. I used to read them and cover them when I was in the courthouse. So I
Right.
think for me, having the legal background is everything because I'm able to support my clients with the real estate and the legal side. I'm also now one of the Santa Clara County's real estate agents. So whenever the county has a matter in which someone has died and the family's not around, the county will actually ask me to sell the property. It's to me, it's beyond real estate. It's like something bigger where I'm able to help people on many levels and
Yeah.
provide resources. And like I mentioned, a lot of my clients are older, so they don't
Yes.
have family anymore. And I'm able to help them with
Yeah.
the cleanup, hauling, painting, everything because I have the resources to provide to them. And it's easier. Some of my clients don't even use a cell phone. They don't even know how to use a cell phone.
Yes.
So I'm able to assist.
Oh my gosh, that's
Yeah.
just amazing. What motivated you to start Miriam Speaks, and how has your role as a speaker allowed you to empower and inspire others, particularly women who are facing similar challenges?
What motivated me to start Miriam Speaks was me going through depression and me having challenges in life and
Mm,
being able to move on and make changes in life, even having those things in my background.
yeah.
I soon hired a coach here in San Jose, California. And I mean, quickly, I was hitting my goals, like I was making it happen. And I
Mm,
realized that a lot of women are struggling with that, especially moms, like
yes.
finding their identity and their voice.
Mm,
And I found that I was a very strong leader in my community. So I started using that in a positive way to help other women achieve their goals. One of my clients started a nonprofit. The other one left her job and started her career. One of them became a real estate agent. So there are so many things that I realized, wow, I do have a gift and I
yeah.
need to share it with others. Being a speaker has allowed me to share my story. And I've had women that reach out and say, hey, I've never talked to anyone about this challenge. Thank you for making it normal. Because I try to do that even in my house when we're having family dinners or when I go to parties, just talk about me and who I am and where I come from without having any shame. And many
Yeah.
times in our culture, people are like, no, no, shh, please
Don't
don't
say
talk about
anything.
that. Don't
Yes.
say anything. It happened already. But I believe if we don't discuss it, we can't heal from it.
Yeah.
So it's really important to share and not be embarrassed or ashamed of what we've been through and where we come from.
Mm, that is so true. The healing comes in the sharing of the stories.
Right.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, how do you balance your dual careers, and what strategies do you use to maintain your focus and commitment to both?
So, especially being an entrepreneur, there are many challenges or dealing with people that are going through crisis or challenging
Mm,
moments. My focus and the way that I deal is always staying uh, positive or
mhm.
understanding that there are challenges and how can I help someone. So having a purpose driven business, that's what I
Yes.
always refer to. My business has a purpose. My purpose is to help others heal, whether it's in real estate or anything else, and look beyond me and what I'm going through because everyone's going through something.
That's
And
true.
being kind to myself as well as I was not for many years. I
Mm,
do hot yoga. I meditate every day. I sit in gratitude. Some days I just sit there. I mean, this past week, someone sent me the most beautiful message, one of my staff, about how I've changed her life. And I just sat there and I accepted it and I cried hysterically for like 3 minutes
oh, wow.
and just allowing myself to feel. That's what I just allow myself to feel and honor my feelings,
Hmm.
whether it's joy or sadness. And I
Oh,
never did that before, but it
yes.
feels good listening to who my thoughts and sometimes shutting them down if they're negative.
Yes.
And I do a lot of audiobooks. I do a few
Okay.
audiobooks a week. So always feeding myself, giving me more.
Yeah, and you do have to focus on feeding yourself because sometimes we get lost in
Right.
everything we're doing to a point where we forget to nourish ourselves.
Exactly.
That's a really good one to remember. Now, you have helped a lot of women enhance their skills and boost their confidence. Can you share a particularly memorable success story of a woman that you mentored and the impact it had on her life?
Absolutely. I think one of the most touching, I mean, there's quite a few, is one woman who reached out to me to assist her with achieving her goal, just gain confidence. And we were working on it every day, every week. We would have phone calls and we would talk about challenges, pretty much like we're doing now, have a conversation and looking
Yes.
from a different perspective. She had a child, she was a single mother. And she successfully graduated from the program. She felt better. Her confidence was better. She was sharing more on social media. She had her own business, so she was posting more and different things.
Mm-hmm.
So it was successful. I didn't know though until later that she was actually being abused by her partner.
Oh,
She didn't share that with me. She shared it with me later, a few months later, and said, "Thanks to you, I found the courage to leave him."
oh, wow.
So to me, gosh, it was so touching because I was just being there for a sister
Yeah.
and someone who I was guiding through this process. I didn't know the challenges she was facing behind closed doors. And this gentleman was really, or this man was really abusive and controlling. And she found the courage within herself to call the authorities and leave him and put a restraining order.
Yes.
And I've been in a abusive relationship with my first partner. I know what that's like. And I know the shame that she carried. So I think for me, when she told me that she left him and it was thanks to my guidance, it was amazing and beautiful to hear. And it was really thanks to her courage.
Yeah.
I just gave her the confidence that she needed for that moment to make that choice for herself.
And a lot of times that's all somebody needs, right? Somebody
Yeah,
just standing by them. You don't even have to do anything. Your very presence was the game changer for that person.
right. Yeah,
Wow.
absolutely.
So now let's end the interview with two questions. It's a bit of a time experiment. In the next question, I'm going to teleport you back into the past. And we're going to go and have a conversation with the younger you. That young woman who was born in Mexico, came to the US, struggled to settle in. If we could go back and you could give her three nuggets of wisdom based on what life has taught you up until this point, what would those three nuggets of wisdom be?
I think the first one would be I would tell her that she's not alone, and to speak up. I would remind her that she is strong and that everything happens for a reason, even if it's a challenging experience. To see beyond that and really look at the outcome or the positive side or the learning experience. And I would tell her to keep on going, to keep on pushing, even if things got hard, to just keep on going and really focus on her goals and what she wants to accomplish in life. Those are the three things I think I would tell her.
Fantastic. I have your website at the bottom of the screen in case anybody wants to reach out and get some mentoring and support from you as well. The last question is now going to teleport you into the future. And we're going to go and meet the 90-year-old you. And you're sitting in your rocking chair, surrounded by your children, your grandchildren, your great grandchildren, whoever's going to be there with you in the end. If we could teleport you into the future to have a conversation with the 90-year-old you, what would you say to her when you finally meet her?
I would say to her, thank you. Gosh, this is like an emotional question. I appreciate you for not giving up. Thank you for loving people and taking care of them and being patient with yourself. And what a journey. And thank you again.
I absolutely love that. A lot of people don't quite get that question. I actually believe that time is an illusion,
Yeah.
that our past, our present, our future is already here, that you can go into the past and heal the inner child in you. You
Mm-hmm.
can teleport into the future and get advice from the essence of the woman that you are becoming.
Mm-hmm.
So I play a lot with that energy of who I am becoming. And when I get really stuck with something I'm working on, I go into my meditation and my prayers and I ask simple questions like, what is the next step? What do I do now? And what happens is your subconscious mind keeps on processing when you're asleep, right?
Right.
So a lot of my stuff comes up in my dreams. I will wake up with those light bulb moments and I know exactly what I need to do next. Or the next day, I can be talking to somebody about what I'm working on, and they will say something, and then there's another person who will say something. And by the end of the day, I've got the solution to my problem. But
Right.
the essence is we have this wisdom in us as women, right?
Right.
We have that intuition. It's that little voice that says, go left, go right, say yes, say no. And we need to trust ourselves more.
Absolutely.
So it
I
sounds to
love
me
that exercise. So I'm going to use it again. I was going to start crying. I
it's
love it.
powerful,
It
right?
is
It's
very
very, very
powerful.
powerful.
Absolutely. Yes. Very powerful.
She is in you. And
Thank you.
the more we can believe this about ourselves as women, the stronger we will be. So,
Absolutely.
Miriam, thank you so much for being
Thank
who
you.
you are
Thank
being
you.
in the world. Thank you for harnessing your pain, your experiences, and helping other women who might be going through similar challenges to get through what they're going through as well.
I appreciate you. Thank you for having me here.
And thank you to everybody who's tuned in today. The Her Story Circle is not just a podcast, it's not just a magazine. We are a social impact movement. We bring on women who are sharing their stories to uplift, inspire, and energize you, but most importantly, to empower you with the tools that you need to get to the next step in your life. So tune in again tomorrow when I interview yet another amazing guest. In the meantime, have a fantastic day, morning, or evening, wherever you are in the world. And bye for now. Thanks again, Miriam.
Thank you.
Thank you for tuning into the Her Story Circle podcast. I hope today's story has inspired you to believe in the power of our stories and the difference you can make in the world when you use your voice. I'm Gertrude Mache, and it's been an honor to share this space with you, where voices from all walks of life come together to weave a rich tapestry of diverse perspectives. Don't forget to subscribe, rate, and review our podcast to help us share these stories with more listeners. Follow us on social media by looking for the Her Story Circle podcast for more updates. And join us tomorrow for another episode filled with courage, resilience, and empowerment. Remember, your story matters, and together we're building a stronger, more inclusive world. Until next time, keep making her story.